Is your spouse from God? A lot of people, when they get married, they are happy to say that this spouse was from God. But the moment certain problems arise, especially the type of problem that they feel like they cannot deal with, all of a sudden now they're thinking that this marriage was not of God and they need to have a divorce. Marriage itself is of God because Satan has nothing to do with marriages. Satan doesn't want people to get married. And the people that Satan would love to get married are people who are of the same gender, the type of thing that is against what God says. But for a man and woman to get married, Satan has nothing to do with that. So the subject of marriage is sanctioned by God. It was originated by God. But we have people now who get married and the coming together of both of them was not by God. They say it was God, but it was not by God. They chose who their partner was supposed to be. God did not select that partner. But not because God did not select the partner does not mean that it cannot work. Remember in the Bible that Jacob was tricked into marrying Leah and he kept her. And it worked. It worked. But there are other people that we see in the Bible where they got their wives and things happened, right? We see where David got Abigail because Nabal was a fool. She was married to a fool, and so God struck Nabal. And then that was how David got her for his wife. So she was doing well with her husband all along until something happened when God's anointed wanted food in order to participate in the feast that was ordained by God at that time. He decided that he was not going to give him any of his food. And that was not good. That was not kind. That was not very pleasing in the sight of God. And so God struck that fool. And his wife became the wife of another man. And we see also the story of how Queen Vashti lost her husband, the king, based on her stupidity. She didn't honor the king enough for her to come to him when he called her just because she felt like he was drinking too much. So that union was no more because of her own stupidity. And so God orchestrated it for Esther to become the king's wife, for Esther to become the queen. We also see in the book of Hosea where God instructed Hosea the prophet to marry Gomer, a woman who was a prostitute, or a harlot, I should say. Let's just use the term harlot. But the reason God told him to marry her was to use her as an example because of the harlotry that Israel was committing against God. And so God was behind this union, even though she wasn't the type of woman that a man would typically, or a man of God would typically marry. But God was behind it just so that he could carry out his message effectively through the prophet Hosea. So I'm here to tell you that no matter what type of marriage you are in, you can make it work. But if it's not working, God is not against you. If for whatever reason it has come to the point where something about it makes it so unbearable that you have to sever ties with this person, you are not condemned by God, contrary to what anybody tells you. When they asked Jesus about the divorce, Jesus said, originally, this was how God wanted it, for man and woman to stay together. But because of their stubbornness, I can't remember the exact word that he used. But so that was why Moses allowed the divorce. But nowhere in that statement did Jesus tell him, no, you can't. You can't have a divorce. Jesus didn't say that. He just told them that they were meant to be together and stay together. But because of their stubbornness, that was why Moses came up with that law. And it was okay. He didn't say no. There are many marriages between people who have been divorced that have been sanctioned by God. And so I've also given you a few other examples. So learn from this and know that your marriage is sanctioned by God. However it is, however you got together, as long as you're man and woman. But if your marriage is not working, it's okay to sever ties. If you have done all that you can, including asking the Lord for his intervention, God will tell some people, God will show some people clearly that they should get out of this. God will tell you. If you are seeking him, God will tell you. If you are not spending the time focusing on the faults of the other person and use that time to spend seeking God for his guidance as to what you should do regarding your marriage, I tell you, I guarantee you, God will show you what to do. I'm Pastor Marion. Please hit that subscribe button. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.